Hey everybody, Joe from Joe of All Trades, bringing you another cooking video today. It's Christmas Eve. I'm going over my family's later today. I'm making them Akron's signature dish, sauerkraut balls. Sauerkraut balls have a significant history in the Akron area, spreading into the rest of Northeast Ohio, beginning like the 1950s. Kind of appeared on the scene, became a appetizer, cocktail food, hors d'oeuvre, whatever you want to call it, in many of the popular and finer dining spots around town. It is an Akron staple. Actually, there's a pretty significant history in this book that my mother let me borrow. Akron Family Recipes, History and Traditions from Sauerkraut Balls to Sweet Potato Pie. The author is Judy Orr James, lifetime Akron resident. There's a pretty extensive history among with other items within food items from the Akron area. I haven't gotten through the whole thing, but I have read the section on sauerkraut balls. It's pretty extensive, and there's some other recipes in there that I'm. But like I said, it was served in many restaurants around town. My favorite version was always Larry's or Larry's main entrance. The debate goes on whether it was Larry's or Larry's main entrance. Either way, over on the west side, they closed a couple of years ago, and they had my favorite version of sauerkraut balls. I would go in there to, get them to go to take to family gatherings all the time. And what I wanted to do in this video is try to replicate that as best as I can. So I came up with a recipe that once I made it, it's not Larry's, but it's pretty close, but it's also really tasty. So this video is probably not going to make it out in time for Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, but if you want to try this recipe out for New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, hanging out with your family and friends, go ahead and try. Leave a comment in the section below. Let me know how it turned out. And if you like this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram. If you want to support the channel, go over to Patreon and help me out there, which I would appreciate. But first, let's get through the mise en place. And a sauerkraut ball is, it's obviously sauerkraut, some kind of protein, dredged, deep fried. Whatever you want to use, you can pretty much use, but this is what I've got going. Got just sauerkraut here. This is a double batch. I will have the single batch size in the in this description box below, but I'm making a double batch, so that's why. Need sauerkraut, cream cheese that's softened. I'm using plain breadcrumbs, caraway seed, onion, parsley, just plain old American breakfast sausage, couple of eggs for the dredge, butter as if needed, flour. That's the stuff for the sauerkraut balls. Obviously salt and pepper to taste. And Larry's used to have a honey mustard dipping sauce. I'm kind of going in that realm. I've got some mayo. I've got various mustards, a little bit of hot sauce, a little bit of honey. So I will show you, what I whipped up for that. But you can use whatever you want. If you just want to use the basic, honey mustard in a salad dressing bottle, Ken's Steakhouse, Food Club, whatever. Go ahead and do that. Other people like cocktail sauce. Do you, but this is what I like with it, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to break all this stuff down, and we're going to come on back. Thanks. Hey, everybody, we're back. We're getting things underway. I just wanted to show you a couple of things while I started to brown off the sausage. So let's get into it. All right, here we go. All right, so I've got my sauerkraut here, and the thing that you want out of the sauerkraut, when we mix it all together, you want it to be as dry as possible. So what I did is, and there's a ton of liquid inside this bag. So basically I just snipped off the corner and I squeezed out as much of the juice as I possibly could into the sink. But one last step that I'd like to take in order to get this as dry as possible is kind of squeeze it through a towel. So, and I'll show you how to do that. So just got a standard kitchen towel here. And I'm just going to put this sauerkraut down, and I'm going to wrap it up. And I'm going to basically, you can do this however you want, but basically squeeze out as much of this juice as you possibly can. I did get a lot of with before in the sink, but I really want to make sure that this sauerkraut is as dry as we can possibly get it, because there's so much liquid in it, and it's gonna impede the ball itself from staying a ball once we make it into balls. So go ahead and do that. And I'm just kind of wrap this up in towel. I'm kneading it as much as possible. Do this over the sink if you want. I'm just doing it in a bowl because I want to be able to show you guys on camera. So I squeeze out a lot through the plastic bag, but there's still a ton coming out. So takes a little bit of elbow grease, but I'll continue to work this and make sure that that gets dry as possible. Got our cream cheese out of the foil. I just threw in this bowl and microwaved it for about 45 seconds. You want to get it softened, but you don't want to get it hot. I'm going to brown off the sausage here. Here we go. I'm going to brown off the sausage here, break it down, scoop it all out, and then I'm going to throw my diced onion in there after that. You want to cook off the sausage and then pull it out, and then you want to sweat the onions before you make your mix. So the mix for the ball is going to be the cooked off ground sausage, sweat onions, the cream cheese, parsley, caraway seeds, salt and pepper to taste, but yeah, so we got to put everything together before we can make the mix, and that's what we're doing here. So I'm going to cook off this sausage, and then we'll come back and I'll throw the onion in. All right, so we're back real fast. I just wanted to show you exactly what I'm looking for when it comes to the sauerkraut. So this big 2-pound bag, and I got about maybe a baseball size worth of sauerkraut, but if you can tell, it's about as dry as I'm possibly going to get it. And that's what I want, because I want the ball to hold up. I don't want any water to keep it from holding form before we deep fry them. So that's what it looks like. And again, I'm going to cook off this sausage, and once I do, I'm going to come back and then sweat the onions in the sausage fat. All right. Just want to let you know, so I am browning off this sausage here. I've got it on low medium heat, not quite halfway on the setting. The main thing is, obviously, I want to cook this off, but after this, once we throw the onion in there, I don't want the pot to be so hot that the onions begin to caramelize. I don't really want a whole lot of color on them. I just want to sweat them so they're translucent. I really want the onion to be present in the sauerkraut ball mix without knowing it's even there. We're not making French dips or French onion soup or anything like that. So I really don't need that increased oniony presence. So we're just going to go ahead and sweat them. But I'm going to go and continue to do this, and then we'll come back and do that. All right, so we're back. Sausage is browned off, and what I want to do before I scoop through this, I really want to make sure that the sausage is kind of chopped up as fine as I can get it. I don't, when you're making a ball, you want everything to be kind of all the same size, texture, all that sort of thing. So you don't want to have this huge, huge piece of sausage in the middle of just, one bite. You want it all to be evenly distributed. So make sure you cut that up as much as you can, just with your spatula or with your meat mashing tool. Separate this. And you're not going to get everything. Nobody's perfect. Quote Bob Ross and say, we don't make mistakes, just happy accidents. So I'd like a little bit more fat to be in there than what was reserved from cooking off the sausage. So I've got a couple tablespoons of butter here that I'm going to toss in there. And we'll get these onions going. So there's a lot of salt coming from the sausage already, the cream cheese, but I do want to put just a little pinch of salt in there to help sweat out these onions. So just until these are translucent, and then you can, put them in, mix them up with the sausage, and then we're going to start building our mix after that. You want it to get a little cool because I think the best way to mix is with your hands. So what we're going to do is once these are translucent, going to add the onion to the sausage, going to put the cream cheese in there, going to put the sauerkraut in there, the parsley, caraway seed, a little salt and pepper to taste, and then what we'll do after that, once the mix is all done, you want it to get cold so it can solidify and meld for a little bit, and then we'll come back, make the balls, dredge them, deep fry them. I'll show you how to make the sauce too that I'm making. So just hang tight and we'll get there. All right, so I've got my onions where I want them. I'm going to go ahead and add them to the sausage, and we can start to get this mixed together. So actually, I'm going to put everything in this bowl. So I've got my sauerkraut in here. I'm going to add this. And I'll be honest, I had some leftover sauerkraut from another package. I made one batch of these on Monday to kind of test the recipe. So I had another half bag. So I will include that in the recipe. So it's 1.5 bags of the floss sauerkraut, because I'm looking at the size of the onions, the size of the sausage. I just want everything to be, in proper, everything homogeneous, whatever, all the right amount of ingredients. I looked at it, kind of eyeballed it. I thought I needed more sauerkraut. I had a little bit left over, so that will be included in the description recipe, the recipe below in the description. Sorry. So I'm going to put my cream cheese in there. I'm going to put a decent amount of parsley, and that's a little bit, it's like half a bunch diced up. Gonna add in my caraway seed. Caraway seed is just a traditional herb or seed, whatever, that goes along with German cooking. Obviously, this is sauerkraut, so I think it goes well. Adds a nice little bite to everything. So I'm just going to get in here, and it's still pretty hot. So what I'm going to first do, I'm just going to get this messy, is use my spatula. Try not to get it on my shirt, so I have to change my shirt before I go to my aunt's house. I mean, this is going to take a little bit while to get everything texturally homogeneous. You don't need to put egg in here. Cream cheese is really the glue that holds everything together. You just want to make sure that everything is evenly incorporated, that there's not some, you know, big ball of just sauerkraut sitting in there, that there's not some big ball of cream cheese sitting in there, that there's not some big clump of sausage. You want to just be all evenly distributed, and really the best way of doing that is with your hands. Just kind of fold it through. Still getting a little clumps of sauerkraut hanging out by themselves. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and temperature, I think it's probably safe to put in the fridge. What I want this to do is I want it to meld and kind of, you know, get further solidity before I come back and actually roll the balls out. Actually, you know what? Let me try this. Yeah, I just want it to be a little bit cooler in temperature. See, like the way I'm trying to do that, it's just kind of breaking up too much of my hands. It won't really form a ball right now, but it will when it's cooler. So I'm going to go ahead, put this in the fridge, let it meld, and then we're going to come back. I'll show you how to make the sauce while we're waiting on these to get ready to roll. All right, and we're back. So I just threw that stuff in the fridge, the mix, to sit and meld. I'm going to make my sauce while we're at it. And then once this is done, go ahead and throw this in the fridge to also meld. So first, just going to start off with mayo. You know, I want it to be mustardy, but I want to have some level of creaminess in this. If you want to, and again, this is a double batch here. So probably about a cup of mayo. And the recipe should yield, the single recipe should yield about a dozen sauerkraut balls. So about a cup of mayo, about a tablespoon of Dijon. Yeah, no, 2 tablespoons. Sorry, I'm not multiplying. Do 2 tablespoons of stone ground mustard. Make a mess here. Say, I'm gonna maybe not do 2 tablespoons of honey, maybe. Yeah, maybe, in reference to everything else. If you want to make this a spicy sauce, go ahead and use a hot honey. I'm fresh out of Akron Honey Company regular honey, but I always keep around some Akron Honey Company, the Habanero hot honey. This stuff is fantastic. I put it on roasted Brussels sprouts, can't be beat. Shout out to Wes and his crew. Now, I'm also going to add, make it even more Northeast Ohio, some Burtman Stadium mustard. Another 2 tablespoons there. Just for some acidity, some hot sauce. You can use whatever you want. Frank's is what I had. I just ran out of Crystal, which I've been picking up more than Frank's recently. I'm just going to go ahead and whisk this. Give it a taste. You use a little bit more zip. So I'm going to add just a little bit more Dijon. like I said before, you can use whatever mustard or cocktail sauce you want. I personally like this. I like the little creaminess of the mayo, the zip of the Dijon, the that brown brown mustard seed taste of the stadium mustard. You can also use I use this all the time. It's just a Dusseldorf style mustard. It's really has the same flavor profile as Dijon. It's just not as aggressive, so it's a little bit more creamy. So that's also a great mustard to try. But let me just double check this again. Yeah, I like that a lot better. You want the mustard to have enough zip to match, the cream cheese and the creaminess of the sauerkraut ball. So I've got that here. I'm happy with it. And then we're just going to wait, let the sauerkraut ball mixture meld, kind of get a little bit firmer. We're going to come back and roll the balls, and then get to deep fry. See you then. Hey everybody, we're back. So I went ahead and pulled our sauerkraut ball mix out of the fridge. It's nice and firm. It's melded. So I'm going to go ahead and roll these out. Bring you down here. Okay. So I've got our mixture here, and I've got a 1/4 cup measuring measuring cup here. Usually what I do, just to make a uniform size. I do this with meatballs. I do it with, anything I'm trying to make a particular size. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm not going to make it heaping. I really do want to fit it within, because I made these heaping on Monday night, and they were a little big. They were more 3 bites than 2 bites. So this is nice and cold. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and move this off camera, but just roll it within your hands. You don't need gloves. I'm wearing gloves just because I'm operating the camera and all that, but also what I want to do is that sometimes wearing gloves, the heat doesn't transfer to what you're trying to roll up into a ball as quickly, so that helps. So what I'm going to do, see again, about that, right, not heaping. Go ahead and roll this out. I'm going to go ahead and roll all these out, and then we'll come back and it'll be time to dredge and deep fry. See you then. All right, so we're back. Rolled all these sauerkraut balls out. Now I'm going to dredge them, get the breadcrumbs on them. So I've got just AP flour, 2 eggs scrambled, and then just regular traditional breadcrumbs, not the Italian style, not with that additional seasoning stuff in it, just because I don't want that seasoning to interfere with the taste of the sauerkraut ball. And they've got a sheet tray out here with breadcrumbs spread across, because once I dredge the sauerkraut ball, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the tray. And what I do not want is the breading to come off and wait, as I'm going through all of these. And assisting that will just, have your sheet tray with breadcrumbs, so, it doesn't come off and stick to the pan. So let's do it. Normally one hand wet, one hand dry, but the fact that we've got 2 things, 2 dry ingredients here, just try your best to work with it. So let's go ahead, roll a sauerkraut ball in the flour, drop it in the egg. And what I was doing, just kind of rolling it around, make sure it's all covered, that there's not some, dry white spot of flour sticking out. Go ahead, throw that in the flour, dry hand again. And you want to try to prevent getting club fingers, but it'll happen eventually. Just rinse them off, start anew. So there's that. Same thing. Always shake your little tray, even out the flour again. There we go. Shake that out. Roll this in the breadcrumbs. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and do all of that, and then we'll come back and we'll start deep frying. Hey everybody, we're back. So I went ahead, I breaded all of these sauerkraut balls, and we're ready to drop them in the fryer. So let me go ahead and I will learn this one day, I promise. So got everything dredged here. Let me bring it in closer. Got my deep fryer here. Deep fryer is set to 340 degrees. And you know what? I forgot to bring this up. Before I go ahead and throw these in the fryer, let me talk to you about something. If you want to throw these in the air fryer, I don't think that they're going to turn out as good. I have an air fryer. I love my air fryer. It's great. The only thing is that just with something that's breaded like this, it really needs to be completely surrounded by, oil. So, if you want to try it. But I would recommend against doing the air fryer. You don't have to have a dedicated deep fryer. You can do this in a pot as long as you're just being safe about it. So, but let's go ahead and drop these in the fryer. All right. Yeah. So, like I said, I've got this thing set to about 325 degrees. I've got my basket here. I've got a little hotel pan just with some paper towel on the bottom. I'm going to move through all of these, and while I'm moving through all of these, I've got my oven set to the lowest setting so they stay warm as I make sure that I, fry all of these. I don't remember how long it takes. I made these on Monday and I just wasn't paying attention to how long it takes, more based on appearance. But I'm going to time it now and I'll let you know how long it took. Because I'm not going to have you sit there and watch, but once I get through the editing, I'll let you know how long it took. So I can fit 6 in this basket. I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, go ahead and drop these. So you want to be safe about it. I'm hitting start now. And they will get a nice, really deep, rich brown color. And that's pretty much when you know when they're good. I'll show you that. When they get to that particular color, they'll be good. You don't want the oil to be too hot because you want you don't want the outside to cook before the interior. Sauerkraut balls I sat in the fridge for an hour. They're a little cold, so you want the grease to be able to heat up the interior of the filling in addition to cooking the exterior of the breading. So I'm going to go ahead and let this cook. We'll come back and I'll let you know how long it took, and then we'll go ahead and do a plating. And we're back. So still cooking, but there is something I wanted to show you. Just as you can see, these are frying in the grease. When you drop them, you can pull them up. That's fine. Take a look at these are not done yet. But what you want to do is just make sure that they're not sticking together. So you might need to do a little shake, but be safe about it. So still timing them. We'll come back when they're done. I'll let you know how long it took. We'll go from there. All right, so we're back. We are just at 8 minutes. And these things are golden brown and looking delicious. So I'm going to go ahead, work, and that's with oil at 325. I'm going to go ahead and work through the rest of the sauerkraut balls. And but in the meantime, I'll get some plating and we'll do a taste test. So we're back. So this is what it's going to look like on most holiday parties. You're going to have a little dollop of sauce. You're going to have the sauerkraut ball. I like having a spoon because I like to split the ball with the spoon and slather the sauce on. But I'm going to go ahead and break this so you can see the interior of it. Got a little sauce on it already. But let's go ahead. And that's what you want to see. You want to see an even distribution of sauerkraut, sausage, cheese, a little parsley in there. It's really in this thing. I've been letting it sit for like 6 minutes. You don't know how hard that's been. But I'm going to slather it with some sauce, just like that. So give it a little taster. Cheers to you. Cheers to your family. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. However you celebrate. Hopefully you can have some great times with your family. Cheers. That is so good. I'm not like, I'm going to pat myself on the back. I don't care, toot my own horn, whatever. It's good. Is it what I remember from Larry's? No. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit more complex. There's a little bit more simple, but completely, I mean, theirs were delicious. I mean, like, it's like a memory when you take a bite into something and you unlock memories. That's what's great about food. That's what was great about Larry's. But I'll say this, you can't beat these balls. Cheers.